What's up, y'all? It's your girl E Lyrics, and I'm back with another video. If you are new to this channel, please like, comment, and subscribe, as well as turn on your push notifications so that you will be aware anytime I upload a video. As you already can tell by the title, this topic is very serious, very touching, very deep, very important. It's more of a big thing now than it ever was. And that's because it's being acknowledged, it's being paid attention to, it's being talked about, the awareness is definitely being spread. As we all know, depression is real. It's so real that people are losing their battle with it. People are fighting their battle with it, not knowing if it's easier to lose or better to win. They don't know if it's better to go the easier route or the better route. They don't know. All they know is the battle in that present moment. And then there's trauma. Based on the title, childhood trauma specifically. That's a motherfucker. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's a motherfucker. But I am glad to be here today. As you can see, obviously, I've won my battle with depression, and I'm ready to talk about that along with my childhood trauma and how I overcame that. I battled so hard on this topic. I fought so hard mentally and emotionally, even verbally, trying to decide how should I say what I need to say, what should I say, how should I approach it, and the only thing that I came up with is be real, let it all out, while keeping in mind that this is my story. This is my testimony, mine. My battle with depression actually started towards the end of 2021. During that time, I was in my apartment, and there was a shift in my income where it resulted in me having to move out. And grateful to God, I didn't have to move out by breaking my lease or experiencing any type of, legal action or anything like that. I was actually able to finish it out. Also grateful to God, I had parents that, were able to welcome me back home until it was time for me to get out there on my own, which is where I am today. But I was not prepared or ready or expecting what God actually was getting ready to take me through. During that time. It was hard, y'all. It was hard. Damn near unbelievable, but I made it. So moving back home was not a walk in the park. It was very uncomfortable because I had been on my own for so long that, any other way of living it could feel foreign, what I'm saying? But I took that opportunity that my parents gave me to get myself together, But leading up to 2022, that's where shit got realer. Let me actually go back to 2021. The apartment I was living in was a really nice apartment. And my reason for choosing that apartment, other than, my taste or what I like, I was actually also rewarding myself, And when God puts you in a position, and He, blesses you with different things, whether it's a new house, a new car, a new job, new opportunity, or anything that's just for you with your name on it, and you have people attached to you that are not supposed to experience that with you, at some point He's going to strip you from it. And me holding myself accountable and being authentic, that's exactly what happened. Everybody's not meant to go with you or experience what's yours. If it's meant for them, God is going to present it to you both at the same time, or present it to them at a different time, But that's exactly what it was. So if people are not supposed to be there, when God chooses to give you those blessings, He's going to take it from you. And He's going to show you for a while. Like, I meant what I said. When I give you something and it has your name on it, stop sharing it with people. And it's not all the time that those people don't deserve it. It's just not for them. But in this case, other than the fact that this person didn't deserve it, this person was not supposed to be there to experience that. And I had total control over that. So, growing up, my mom would always, her go-to phrase was sit on your feelings. She would have went about something a certain way, knowing she went about it a certain way that hurt us, or said something a certain way that hurt us. And her go-to end phrase was, you better sit on your feelings. You better sit on your feelings. And honestly, that was a blessing. And it wasn't a curse, because I'm not cursed at all. But it was a blessing, and it was also a fucked up thing to say. It was a blessing because it allowed me to have thick skin for the real world, because that world out there does not care about your feelings. When you're on these jobs or when you're just out and about, you have to have tough skin, because you have to think about the things you worked hard for that you don't want to lose, or knowing how to conduct yourself in a certain setting where you might have to bite your tongue. You understand what I'm saying? But it was also a fucked up thing to say, because as my mom, you're telling me in so many ways, your feelings don't matter to me. I know I hurt you, but I don't care that I did hurt you. I know I hurt you, but you'll get over it. I know I hurt you, but hey, somebody hurt me and this is my time to project that on you. In so many ways, that's exactly what she was saying. Over the past couple years or few years, she did admit that she is fully aware that she projected that onto me and my sister, as well as she definitely knows that she also admitted that she didn't give us a voice. But even to this day, we still have yet to be able to sit down and tell her how we felt. We've been hearing all these years how we made her feel, as a parent. We've been hearing that all of our childhood. But as an adult, it's like, well, when do we get our turn? Even when like my teachers would call my mom to report, my behavior or anything like that, in elementary, and maybe like once or twice in high school, I was never the type of child to feel like I had to necessarily lie about my reaction towards the teacher. It was more so me wanting to explain to my mom why I reacted the way I did, and she didn't want to hear that. It was always the teacher's word over mine. It was never my word against theirs or vice versa. Let me hear your side and your side so I can, as a parent, put this together to see what was what. Or you know what I'm saying? It was never that. So even to this day, I'm always, ready to defend myself, because I didn't have growing up, that parent, I didn't have that support. You understand what I'm saying? Not that I was a goody two shoe at all. I was something else, y'all, growing up. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to label it as me having a problem with authority. I had a problem when authority would feel like, because they had authority over me, that they can say whatever, however. That's never going to sit well with me. You being the age that you are, you having the title that you have, will never be your ticket to come at me in a negative way or disrespectfully. That's never going to happen. And yes, I do believe that in some cases, or most cases, that your upbringing can affect your decision making in life, relationships, friendships, all that good stuff. My mom even said that she's not ready to have us sit her down to tell her how we feel, because her main concern is she doesn't want to be disrespected. And I understand where she's coming from. Again, I just understand where she's coming from based on me being able to grasp what she's saying, or being able to comprehend what she's saying. But I don't agree with what she's saying at all. I do feel like it's more so you don't want to hear how you've made us feel, because as a parent, you don't want to feel like you're being told that you were not a good parent. I feel like she's afraid to hear how she's made us feel, and she's probably going to take that as saying that she's a bad parent. Never that. I say it again. She was never a bad parent. She was an amazing parent. I didn't want for anything. at all. I only feel like she just was not emotionally present or emotionally available for her children. As the depression carried over to 2022, that's when I experienced the detachment from that person. God detached that person from me. And at first, I didn't understand why. It was very painful. It actually increased my depression. It added on to it. It was so painful. What I thought was just healing from a relationship, which was very narcissistic, God actually pointed out some things to me and let me know there's a reason, a deeper reason why you keep running into the same people or the same person in different people, is because you happen to be attracted to what's been normal for you, or what was normal for you growing up. What that normal thing was is not using your voice, or using your voice and still not being heard, which is the worst thing in the world, is using your voice and you still ain't being heard. And that's where the childhood trauma recognition came in. Because I thought I healed from that, but that wasn't the case. I got away from it when I moved out in 2016, you know, but I didn't heal from it, is what God was trying to tell me. Growing up, my feelings were not valued. They didn't matter to my mom. And in her defense, before I moved forward, she was an amazing mother, one hell of a provider. I didn't want for anything. I didn't go to bed hungry, thirsty. I got to participate in, you know, school activities. You know, I went to parties too, you know. But my mother was not emotionally available to me or for me. In a way, I had to rely or receive that emotional support from my older sibling, which in her defense, I would like to believe that it probably took a toll on her as an older sister. But I'm not here to tell her story. I'm here to tell mine. So I'm just, you know, acknowledging what was what, you know. Also, to add in my mother's defense, all she knew was to provide. She didn't know how, or she didn't know how to create the time to care about our feelings or be present for us emotionally. In ways, to be honest, I relied on friends too. And they were naturally there for me, because, you know, your friends are going to be that emotional support for you. You know, that's just what real friends are, you know, going to be. That's what they're going to do. But yeah, growing up, I received that emotional support from my older sibling, even godparents. But the person that I wanted it from the most didn't give it to me. And it still affects me to this day. You know, it still does. But I had to do the work. Because you can't change people. You can only change yourself. So when God revealed that to me, that, you know, what you've experienced as a child growing up is affecting you as a person when it comes to the different relationships or bonds or, you know, friendships or, you know, bonds in general that you are, you know, encountering, it was scary. Because that warfare, spiritually, it wasn't no joke. Whilst living with my parents, you know, mainly my mom being there, because a few times we would bump heads. Besides the fact that I'm her mini-me, I'm like the modern day version of her, or as I like to call it, the modern day, more healed version of her. Besides that, we're also the same zodiac sign and the same month. And for her 26th birthday, I put her on bed rest. So, but we're very much alike, just in two different eras. I had a lot of work to do that God was just literally putting assignments in front of me. And it was heavy, but I was able to carry it. So while going through that stage of depression, I I would like to still acknowledge my parents, my mother and my father, actually, especially on this particular day. My depression was really trying to win on that day. I was pacing back and forth. I was actually at home by myself at my parents' house. And I text both of my parents, I believe, or I text my mom, and she notified my dad. And I asked my mom to hold me. I asked her to come home and hold me. Because the thoughts that were in my mind at the time, I couldn't understand why I was thinking that way about myself. I also knew that although on this particular day, my parents actually came to the rescue. Because I can't tell y'all if they would not have, if I would still be here today. And even though I've mentioned before that my mother was not emotionally present, you know, she was present that day. And both of my parents got off their job to, you know, to make sure that I won that tough battle of depression. Because, like, you have people losing it. You have people losing their battle to depression. And that's no fun at all. At all. When you're not able to eat or sleep or function. Because life is so overwhelming. It's literally making you emotionally weak. You know, a lot of people know me for being goofy, funny, making people laugh. I'm laughing at myself a lot of times. They know that part of me. But this part of me, you know, it's seeing Ebony depressed. I haven't seen that. So a lot of people have not seen that. And the people that were able to be, you know, aware of it, praying for me, you know, they know. But for the most part, you know, a lot of people they're not aware of that unless I say it, you know. I had to make up my mind that day and the next day that I was gonna start my healing journey from the things that I've experienced, from being stripped of the things I've had, whether it was, you know, my apartment, you know, having to come back home, healing from a narcissistic relationship, even childhood traumatic experiences. That day I had to decide that I have to do this. And even though I was around my mom, God still took me through this by myself. Because there were times we did bump heads, you know, as I said. And I appreciate her for being there during that, you know, that time. Because I desperately needed my parents. I desperately needed them. Because if they were not able to come, I don't know if I would still be there today. Be there that day and here today, sharing my testimony. Moving forward, again, me and my mom would get into it, you know, because I'm not backing down from her, and she's not changing. Mama gonna be mama, but I'm gonna be me. You know, I'm an adult now. Things I couldn't say as a child, I'm saying every bit of it as an adult. I'm what I mean by that is, a lot of times the OGs, not everybody, they feel like because they are older, they can say what and how they want. They can say what they want, how they want. And that, to them, they feel like that they've earned their stripes to do that. And it's like, nah, that's not how that works. If respect is given to a dog, then what do you think is owed or should be, you know, given to people with two legs, you know? So, let's fast forward this thing here. So, this one particular night, this particular argument or verbal altercation that I had with my mother was something that, if I was being honest with y'all, again, I saw this coming. I knew I didn't see it coming the way it came, but I knew one day I was gonna let it all out to the fullest with no regret. No regret. Even to this day, my mom calls me, check on me, you know, we love each other very much. She's still there for you, girl. But I have no regrets on anything I said or on anything of how I said it. So this particular night, it was just me and my niece at the house, and I heard a doorbell ring, and in my mind I'm like, who's at the door? I don't know anybody. Normally my parents would let me know that somebody's coming by, just to let me know to expect somebody coming by, but this time they didn't. So I look out the window or the peephole and I realized it was my nephew. So I'm like, okay, it's my nephew. So I told him, yo, if you know y'all got a key, don't ring the doorbell, So, I was, just chopping it up with him, letting him know. And the reason I let him know that, and I told him because naturally it startled me. It kind of shook my nerves up a little bit because I'm like, who at the door? It's just me and my niece. And I told him, next time just let your grandmother use the key, because my nerves are a little bad. I'm 30, but sometimes my nerves tend to have an age of an 80-year-old woman. But my mom actually, let him know, the same thing. I'm thinking she's coming behind me to back me up with that. Mama gonna be mama. Mama always gotta. Mama gonna be mama. So she referenced the fact that she mentioned that she didn't want to hear me get on to him. I guess me getting on to him was a little bit irritating to her. And I was just letting her, and me hearing that she said what she said, I said, well, I'm not trying to bring forth any chaos or any type of aggravation, but this is why I did, XYZ. And then my mom then replied and said, I wasn't talking to you. I told y'all we were the same sign. I am the modern day version of her. And from that comment on, all hell just broke loose. I let it all out, y'all. I let it all out. I think at this particular time, I was just fed up with my mom feeling like she can say what she wants, how she wants, and she doesn't want me to say anything back at all. And I'm never going to stand for that from anybody. And when it escalated the way it did, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I felt a breath of fresh air. Because as minor and small as that situation was, let me tell you where it came from. Build up from childhood to adulthood. Because she's never had an open door policy for her children to express themselves, to express their hurt when she's the one causing the pain. It's like throw up, y'all. The more you try to keep that, the more you try to keep the vomit down, the more it's going to try to come up. You're trying to keep it down, but at some point your body is not going to react to you forcing what needs to come out. It's not going to react positively. At some point, it's just going to shoot out. And although you ain't going to want to see that, but your body going to feel a lot better because it's out. It's out. And I hate to compare it to vomit, but that's the best way I can explain it. And I said some off the wall things. I said some off the wall things. Let's just say if a stranger was to walk, if a stranger were to have walked in the house, they wouldn't have been able to tell or identify that, oh, that's mother and daughter. They would not have been able to identify that. And just so we're clear, that has never happened. That was the only time that has happened to that extent, you know. I had never experienced that type of argument or dispute or verbal altercation with my mother. I have never experienced that. Never, ever, ever experienced that. And I remember packing my things because I don't remember if she said, I don't remember if she told me to get out or if she said, if you don't like it, then you can leave. All I heard was leave or get out. One of those words, and I took my opportunity and I left. It was nothing to leave at all. And my birthday was actually in a few days or about a week later. And so I ended up calling her and I ended up apologizing to her. And see, my apology is not what y'all think. My apology had nothing to do with what I said. My apology had nothing to do with how I said it. Because what I said was what I felt. And how I said it was how I felt. And I'm never going to apologize for my feelings to anybody. But when it came to her feelings being hurt, absolutely I apologize to my mom for that. Because hurting her was never a part of the plan. Hurting you was never a part of the plan. Never a part of the plan. My mom has a tendency to say things, and when you tell her or attempt to try to tell her how you feel about it, she, wants to disregard the conversation or disregard your feelings because she doesn't want to be put in a position to be looked at as somebody who did something wrong to somebody. I mean, who does? I don't think nobody wakes up, and I'm speaking for the good people. I don't think she wakes up wanting to do wrong, or I don't wake up wanting to do wrong, or y'all don't wake up wanting to do wrong. We're human. We're gonna do wrong. But what makes the wrong even worse is when we're not allowing ourselves to just simply acknowledge the person's feeling. You can still mean what you did, but just a simple acknowledgement of the person's feeling is all that's needed, which is what I did. I meant every word I said that night. I meant how I said it that night. But it was never to hurt her. It was to, make her aware, hey, this is how I've been feeling. Maybe if that door was open for me to express myself and express my hurt to you, by you, this probably for sure wouldn't have happened at all. But it's build up. It's like vomit. It's like vomit. You got this hurt from a little girl, and you keeping it bottled in, and it just keep rising. It just keep. And then when it finally comes out, it's like, oh, your body feel better, but then it's a mess too. But it's out. During the time when I was on the phone with my mom apologizing, I also thanked her for bringing me in this world, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. She carried me. And then my father too. I'm not gonna dismiss him at all. I mean, takes two. Speaking of my pops real quick, he's always had that, open door policy for, me to be able to come and talk to him and tell him anything, or even if it's about how I feel about something or somebody, or a specific topic, or even if we just chilling on the porch and just vibing, you know what I'm saying? We're just talking. He's always been that type of dude that don't make you feel like you're here and he's up here when you're just talking to him. So in a way, I say that to say this, or if I may add, it actually had a little bit of a balance with my parents. You have my mom, who's the more stricter parent, or who was the more stricter parent. Then you have my dad. He's the more lenient parent. Now, my daddy was not a pushover. Now, don't get that shit twisted. But he had way more leniency than my mom. Now I didn't feel sheltered growing up. I don't feel like my mother sheltered me and just like kept me away from the world. I don't feel like that shit at all. I just felt like she was not emotionally present or emotionally available for me like she should have been. But nevertheless, I acknowledge that, you know, she is very precious to me, very fragile to me. Like I will take a bullet for that lady. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. You know, and if I was being honest to this day, my mama still struggle with listening to how somebody, you know, feel. I'm still having to let her know. Maybe not in that type of way, to the extent that situation happened. But Mama, I'm grown now. You gotta know this. You know, for the longest, y'all, I ain't gonna lie. For the longest, my mama thought my sister was her mini-me. Till I started to get a little older. Then she realized, like, God damn, that's my is right here. But yeah, she struggles with that to this day. But because I'm on my own path of healing, I no longer try to change her or try to I no longer try to put myself in a position to make her see what change she needs. I don't make that my business no more. Because you add stuff to your plate that you ain't supposed to eat. Can't do it. Y'all can't do that to y'all parents. Y'all cannot put yourselves in a position to change your parents. If they want to be set in their ways until the day they die, let them be. If you're the adult child that's going to choose to heal, evolve, maneuver for the better, do that. But don't carry your parents' trauma. It's hard enough that they gotta carry it. They come from an era of having to sweep shit under the rug. I ain't sweeping a damn thing under the rug. It won't get healed if it ain't revealed. It won't get discovered if it's undercover. That's the era that I'ma come from. That's the point of view that I'm coming from. Yeah. That's what we gonna do. You understand? We gonna call a spade a spade. Call it out. Speak to it, as y'all ever has that say. Give it sound. You know. So what I did to overcome the depression and the childhood trauma. Oh my gosh, I'm still doing the work, but I am way better now than I ever was when I first started. The depression, I got up every day, even if it was from a night of no sleep. I worked out, I walked, I jogged, I prayed every night throughout the day. I did things for myself that I wasn't doing, and the things that I was already doing for myself before this whole warfare started, I did more of it. You know, I changed my eating habits. You know, the first part of my weight loss journey actually came from the depression. But I decided to, you know, go about it a different way. I didn't want depression to be the reason I'm losing weight. You know, I said, you know, I'm going to change my eating habits. I'm not going to go on a strict diet, but I'm going to do what's better and best for me. I started recognizing who the fuck I was, you know. Like, you gotta know who the fuck you is for real. You have to. Because if you don't, nobody ain't gonna know. I never struggled with self-esteem or nothing like that. But get up. Get up. If all you do is get up, that's more than enough. Pat yourself on the back. You got this. When you think you don't, that's really when you do. You know. How I overcame the childhood trauma? Using my goddamn voice. Not backing the fuck down. I'm gonna talk. You ain't gotta listen, but you gonna hear me. You listen right here. You hear me right here. It's either way it go, it's gonna register some kind of way. Sometimes overcoming different traumatic experiences may require you to keep a certain amount of distance. You know, and that's what I'm even doing now in a way. Another thing, going back to the whole depression thing, overcoming that was a big deal for me, because when I overcame that, I felt like I could do more. You know, I wasn't bound or mentally or emotionally incarcerated, shut away from things. Like I said, I got up. I forced myself to get up. And even doing the shadow work, you know, writing things, you know, getting yourself a journal, you know, writing down your manifestations. This book I went out and bought, you know, this journal. This is what I write my manifestations in. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is, because it's my business. But yes, manifesting is part of my healing journey. And I use it as not a way to escape, but it's part of my me time. You know, I do it when I'm at work. Sometimes I do it when I'm just sitting at home. Sometimes I do it while I'm getting a pedicure or, you know, whatever. And that's even in the Bible, you know, write the vision down and make it plain. And your vision does not have to be written a certain way. You can write it down as though you're taking notes. You can write it down as though you're telling a story. However you want to, be as authentic as you can be, you know, and doing that, praying over it, that's going to register, you know, and be given to God. And he's gonna acknowledge that, you know. So yeah, I do journal and I do work out 3 to 5 times a week. And that's just also, in addition to other things, that's my way of getting back to me or getting to me again. I do that because it's not only a stress reliever, but it's also a stress preventer. When you are well-rounded and well-grounded in doing for yourself, you'll start seeing your manifestations come to a reality from what you've written down. Or, you know, like myself, I do also have a goal weight, you know, so having that as part of my journey and just continuing that and being consistent and persistent is something that, you know, it's part of it's a lifestyle now. It's not just a go-to thing that I have, or just a goal. It's a lifestyle. With all that being said, to all my people who are out there battling depression or experiencing the aftermath of a traumatic past, you got this. You matter. You choosing to get up out of bed, to eat something, to take a run, to take a walk, or to take a drive is an achievement. It's an achievement, and give yourself credit for that. Continue to write down your manifestations, think about them, dream about them, keep God first, and also put you first. Do for you. Know that you matter in this world. Thank y'all for watching.